Okay, Madam Chairman, we're ready.
We're ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm going to call to order at 5:49, the Monday, August 17th, 2020 Finance and Purchasing Committee. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsome,
Present.
Alderman Moiseo,
Here.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Here.
Alderman Rivera,
Present.
Alderman Seager.
Present.
All present, Chairman.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes. Motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Seager to approve the minutes from July 20th, 2020 for the Finance and Purchasing Committee. Are there any questions on this motion? All those in favor? Oh, roll call, please. Roll call.
Oh, okay. I'm still used to the old-fashioned way. Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Is there any public comment for the Finance and Purchasing Committee?
There were no comments submitted to the Office of the City Clerk.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to new business. Item A, motion to authorize the mayor to approve a fee amendment to the city's administrative adjudication officer. Excuse me, raising the hourly rate from $125 per hour to $175 per hour to meet the market rate. Attorney Martin Walker was appointed by resolution as the City of Waukegan adjudication officer on November 6, 2017. Mr. Walker is in the meeting. Are there any questions, or do you want to address the committee, Mr. Attorney Walker?
Sure, I'd be happy to address the committee. Well, good evening, I suppose. First of all, I don't have a copy of the agenda, so I'm not sure if any information other than what you read, Mrs. Newsome, is there in front of the committee, but I could add something to it. So I didn't want to be repetitive and wasting time, but
what we have was what was submitted in, I believe, 2017, just your resume and one other item, adjudication officer. So if there's anything else that you want to talk about, or what you're doing.
Sure. I'd be happy to speak briefly about what I've been doing. Obviously, I've been working with the City of Waukegan in these regards for the past 2 years, and I believe that I've helped this particular faction of the city to move a little bit more expeditiously, efficiently, and cost productively as well. I believe that in the past 2 years, I may have had perhaps 2 appeals. And I think that's a result of me handling the cases the way that I do, in speaking and addressing the people of Waukegan who come before me with respect, but also hearing their issues and making sure that they understand the law and the procedure before I make a decision. And I believe that has helped keep the appeal rate down of decisions by the Administrative Adjudication Office, which in turn also saves the City of Waukegan money. I simply ask that my rate be raised to the market rate because in the past 2 years, I suppose that's been somewhat of a test or probation period, but I think I've done very well. My record speaks for itself. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any aldermen have any questions for Attorney Walker? Alderman Florian?
Thank you. I know I'm not technically a member of this committee, but I thought I'd better ask my questions here as opposed to at City Council. Thank you for being here, Mr. Walker, so we can see you in in person, quote unquote. I have a couple of questions. Certainly during this financial crisis, this is, not a great time to think about raising anyone's salary, in my opinion. You made a good case for why we should consider doing that. I agree. My question is, I spoke with Tina earlier about your duties and how in the long run this theoretically saves the city of Waukegan money by having our own adjudication officer. Can you speak at all to what that's like what those numbers look like, I guess, by hiring you and now by giving you a raise, what can I tell my constituents that, will make it seem like it's okay for suddenly us to, be paying somebody $175 an hour to do this?
Sure. Well, I don't have all the factual breakdown as far as how many cases I hear and the amount of revenue that comes into the city. That's really not the type of information that I gather from my position. And frankly, I think from my position, that's not what my position calls for. However, I can tell you that definitely the city of Waukegan hears a lot of cases twice a month. Well, of course, prior to COVID, not being facetious, but we hear a lot of cases, in particular with whether it's red light or the city of Waukegan ticket, whether they're parking tickets and things of that nature. We hear a lot of cases, and my goal has been to make sure that I'm not only fair, but that people from the city of Waukegan understand why they're there and what my findings are. I think that, again, my appeal record speaks towards that. There's not as much confusion about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what the alleged charges or what the charges are when people come into that hearing room. For instance, next week, I know that we're going to start the Zoom hearings for the red light photo enforcement. And there's a backup of about 91 cases. And some of those cases can go a long time, and some of those cases are very short, depending on the individual that comes before me, obviously. Now with that, going to Zoom hearings this week, excuse me, we're going to start off with about 30 of those to test everything and see how that runs. But there's going to be a period of catch up for one, and additional time will be put in with me working with the different individuals whom utilize the Zoom software, and myself as well, making sure that things run smoothly. I guess to speak a little bit further to your question, I'm not, necessarily asking for more than market rate. I'm asking to be compensated at market rate. Again, understanding that the city of Waukegan handles substantially more cases than some of these surrounding cities, and the market rate and similarly situated cities are perhaps, if not as busy, very busy cities like Gurnee. I know that the officer is compensated at $175, and that's what I'm asking.
Okay. Do we know, Tina, perhaps you can answer this, what the total amount will look like for the year based on this increase, like what the impact will be to the overall budget?
Total of the fees?
Well, yeah, raising it from 125 to 175, what are we talking about dollar wise?
I did not prepare that for this meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Are there any more
Thank-
questions? Are any more
Tina,
questions?
Can I just,
Alderman
Tina,
Poisson?
do we
Yes.
have, what was the cost last year? Do you have that at the tip of your hands or not?
No, I did not pull Mr. Walker's fees. I'm not sure if he has that or not. The invoice, I believe he does have an invoice on tonight's bill run. He does a very nice job though of breaking out the different categories, billed separately for code enforcement versus the various police, parking, red light, and then
Right.
I think the invoices are, maybe the most I think I've seen is $4,500 to $5,000 per month, but again, I'm just recalling that off the top of my head. I could be wrong.
And usually they're less than that. Let me see if I could pull up something here. Being that we're all in front of our computers anyway.
Right. I'm just curious to know how much we're paying and then how much we're bringing in fines.
Well, we certainly bring warrant and fines, but I think Mr. Walker did talk about he's not paid a commission. So
No,
I
I
want to make
I know,
that clear.
I
So
don't want to
he's
go down that rabbit hole, but I
right.
still want to know what the cost analysis is, I guess.
Right. So the red light tickets, code enforcement, and there are some times where Mr. Walker will, overturn one of the tickets or red light tickets or code enforcement that we've
His
written.
job is
So
to follow the law and to be a judge, not a revenue generator, but
right.
our job is to make sure that we're not paying more than we're bringing in. I get all that, and the fact that he's only had 2 appeals is impressive. But I'd like to know all that before I can vote on it. And I'll vote on it here in committee, but on the council, I want to. If we don't have time to get to it, I'd like to know all that so that I can, if there's ever a question from a constituent. And like Alderman Florian said, in this present time, it's going to be pretty hard to sell anybody's increase on some things to the average Joe public.
If Mr.
Sure.
Walker has that,
So
if not, I can provide it to the alderman before council.
Okay. I excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't have anything regarding how much money actually comes in. However, looking at some of my past invoices, on average, I'd say a month. I'm paid about $2,600, maybe
Okay.
$27.
A month. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Okay. Usually less than that.
And Attorney Walker, and you are paid hourly, correct? As
Yes.
how long does court usually last? Twice a month?
Sure. So if I can go over exactly the that I do, because sometimes it's not just hearings for red light photo enforcement or administrative adjudication hearings for code enforcement. I'm also the deputy liquor license officer. So usually that's somewhat of an on-call job. So
Okay.
if a hearing or an issue comes to the city regarding the suspension or some sort of discipline for a liquor license holder, oftentimes those come to me and I have to make adjustments in my schedule to hear that. So if something comes to me on a Monday and they want to hear it on a Thursday, well then I prioritize the city and I move things around so that I can hear that on that Thursday, or whenever it is that the city wants that heard. So there's the hearings for the red light photo enforcement usually take 2, maybe 3 hours, depending on the weight of the call. But then also I have mailing hearings for individuals who don't want to appear. And I have to do those after hours, either at my office or sometimes at home with my laptop, reviewing those different videos and making decisions on those mail-ins. And sometimes they can be quite voluminous. And so there's that portion as well. There's my regular hearings, which are the second and third Wednesdays in the mornings and afternoons. And then there's the mail-ins the mail-in photo enforcements that I handle as well. So that all goes into the calculation.
Okay.
Real quick, one more thing. I do know that at 175 for any legal services is probably a pretty good bargain. Me and you have been around long enough to know that
I would agree.
175 for a lawyer's services is
Low.
is a pretty low price. Correct.
Yes.
For any legal services. So I just wanted to say that.
Tina, did I give you the motions, the names for the motions on this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Kirkwood. Hearing no more questions on the motion. Roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item B, motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed 17 million first lien water and sewer system revenue bonds, Series 2020, for water and sewer system capital improvement purposes, and 8 million first lien water and sewer system revenue bonds, Series 2020, for water and sewer system revenue bond refunding purposes of the city of Waukegan, Lake County, Illinois. A motion by Alderman Seager, second by Alderman Moiseo. And Mr. Maselli, do you want to take it away?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good evening. So this is a continuation of our discussion from June 15th when we discussed the financing plan for the water and sewer revenue bonds. This will be a refinancing of the city's 2010D and 2012C bonds for debt service savings. The call date for those bonds is coming up, so we have the opportunity to refinance them, and interest rates are very attractive in the market right now. So we see some substantial savings from that portion of the issuance. The next part of the issuance is an issue for new money for capital projects for the water system. The intent is for $15 million in project funds. That'll be issued over a 20-year period. When we initially presented this in June, looking at preliminary rates at that time, to now, with just the improvement in the market, we're seeing about a $15,000 per year benefit or higher savings amount for the refunding portion of the issue, and about $50,000 less a year in annual debt service for the new money, and preliminary numbers were attached to the packet. With us on the call today are the other members of the financing team, and I'll just go quickly through the distribution list just in case questions arise for any of them. Representing Bond Counsel, which is Miller Canfield, we have Daryl Davidson. We also have Denise Jordan Walker on the line, who is the city's disclosure counsel from Hardwick Law Firm. And the underwriters on this issue, the senior managing underwriter is Robert W. Baird and Company, and Stephen Roberts from Robert W. Baird is on the line. And the co-managing underwriter is Bernardi Securities, and Kevin Wills is on the line from Bernardi. So For timing, after today, assuming approval of the ordinance, we will be moving to a rating call on Thursday. We should receive the rating next week. We're looking at a pricing in early September, potentially the week of the 7th or 14th, closing the bonds on October 7th. And that point, the city would have its funding for its new money for the capital projects, and then the old bonds, the 2010s and 2012s, would be redeemed on their call date, which is December 30th, 2020. So happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from any of the aldermen? And this will not have anything to do with the tax rolls. This is purely coming out of water and sewer.
That's correct.
Alderman Rivera?
Yes, thank you. So you indicated that the current obligation will be up at the end of this year?
The 2010 and 2012 bonds are callable, which means they can be refinanced at the end of this year. The term for those bonds extends another 10 years, I believe. So if we did not refinance them, the existing bonds would stay outstanding until they matured, which would be another 10 years.
And then you're saying that within those, we're realizing, was it a $15,000 annual savings if we refinance them now?
It's actually, so the 15,000 is the improvement since the last time we spoke. And I think we're about $45,000 to $50,000 in annual savings right now.
Okay.
That's a big savings.
Yeah. All right, any more questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Item C, motion to authorize the mayor to award a contract with Concentric Integration, the lowest responsible bidder, in amount not to exceed $154,450 for the purpose of water treatment plant booster station, the SCADA upgrades. This project will utilize 2018 water and sewer revenue bond funds. The water plant superintendent conducted a public bid request for proposal, excuse me, process, and based upon the results, recommends that the contract be awarded to the low bid and move forward with certain improvements to the water treatment and transmission system. And this is for the automated software, correct?
I believe Antonio was on. I'm not, there he is. I'll let him take that question.
All right. Mr. Antonio. Are you on mute?
Uh-oh, I don't think his audio is working.
I can help. I can help.
He's on mute.
That
okay.
is it. That is in fact the automated control system for to run the 3 booster stations.
Okay. All right.
We've been doing it manually for years, and this will make sure that this is a much better process across the board. It'll save money. It'll save time in the long run.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney. Are there any other questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Did we have a first and a second on
Oh,
that?
motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Kirkwood.
Okay, Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item D, motion to authorize the mayor to issue a change order in the amount of $50,590, amending the contract originally awarded on June 17, 2020, in an amount of $117,000 to the Insurance Program Manager Group, IPMG, to a revised total of $167,590 in order to account for additional and unanticipated costs associated with the workers' compensation audit and data migration. Motion by Alderman Seeger, second by Alderman Mozio. Are there any questions to this motion? Seeing no questions, roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seeger,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye, motion carried. Item E, motion to authorize the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Lake County in order to seek reimbursement of certain costs associated with the civil unrest. Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Kirkwood. Are there any questions to this motion? This is so that we can get it reimbursed for some of the overtime and things for police and fire. Roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seeger,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye, motion carried. Item F, motion to authorize the mayor to issue a change order in the amount of $355,127.53, amending the contract originally awarded on September 16th, 2019, in the amount of $869,628 to D-Land Construction LLC to a revised total of $1,224,755.53. In order to make sidewalk improvements, this project utilizes 2018 B General Obligation Bond funds. Motion by Alderman Seeger, second by Alderman Moiseo. The city engineer and CPI project manager, IEI, recommends change order to account for additional work completed under the sidewalk program, including Sheridan Road at Oakwood Cemetery, accessibility improvements, Tobin Court and Bush Court, accessibility improvements, pothole patching, Belvedere Road to 277 feet east of Archer Avenue, accessible improvements, and removal of obsolete driveways and other various sidewalk ADA ramp removals and replacements. Are there any questions to this motion? Alderman Rivera.
Yeah, is this on top of the previous increase that we had for DeLand?
Yes, I believe it is. This was some other work that was authorized. And hopefully this is the last time it'll come through like this prior to coming to this council.
Madam Chairman.
Alderman Rivera, I believe you're thinking of a Peter Baker contract. I don't believe we had a change order for D-Land at the last committee meeting, but we
the
did
last
have
was
one
Peter
for Baker.
That was
Right.
Peter Baker, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But for these type
D-Land
coming, yeah,
is concrete, Peter Baker is roads, is asphalt, basically.
right. You have the motion, Seeger and Moiseo.
I have a question, Chair.
Alderman Kirkwood.
I guess my concern is that we continue to have these change orders and we're not informed previously to these things coming, and it's always an increase, it's never a decrease. So how can we get a better handle of this situation? Because whether it's Peter Baker or D-Land or any other contractor, we need to become more responsible, holding them to the original bid and seeking approval prior to bringing it to the council, so we kind of be aware of these change orders, so there's not that much of an increase.
Right. I believe that this was for work that was added on top of the original contract.
Yeah.
That was asked for them to do. So this should be the last time that this happens. I think we have something else on the agenda that will be done if it's approved. But this is the last time that this will happen going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Florian.
I'm just curious, you said the work was already done and authorized. So
Yes.
who authorizes that? Is that through the mayor? Is that Mike Hewitt? Is that,
I believe the mayor authorized the work.
okay. So it was already authorized and performed, and now we're just being asked to approve it after the fact.
Yes.
Okay.
Real quick, it does seem a little disorganized to all of us, I think. You can't fault Baker or D-Land if they're told to do work. It is from bond money, so that money does have to be spent at some time. So whether it gets done now or next year, I guess, is probably a bigger issue. And if they're there and the engineers and the mayor decide they want to get it done, I guess that's the authorization we're talking about. I just wish we would be a little bit more. I've voiced my displeasure with the road program, at least the organization of it. I just wish we would be a little bit more organized in what we're doing, because it looks like when this comes in front of us, it looks like these guys are just out there doing more work. But at the end of the day, it has to get done either this year or next year. So I understand the mayor authorizing, saying, "Hey, just go ahead and do that and get that done and out of the way." Just, I get that, but it makes it doesn't, the optics on it don't always look very good. So we have got, like I said, I've already voiced my displeasure with the organization of the road program. That directly comes from the engineering firm. We're going to hire an engineering firm for what we're hiring for. They got to run this from soup to nuts. And they have to have a detailed plan, and we go out and honor these contracts, and then it comes back as a change order. It just doesn't look good. I get it. I understand it. There, the mayor and engineer said, "Hey, let's just do it now instead of doing it next year." I understand that. But we have got to be a little bit more organized in how we're doing it. And it
Right.
is bond money. It's money that has to be spent eventually anyway. So, but again, I think we've all voiced our concern that this has got to be better organized or thought out, I guess is what I'm trying to
Or,
get at. Thank you,
or
Alderman.
or handled a little differently. I understand when the mayor says that, well, we should do this, so go ahead and take care of that. But I think it's up to the engineer to let the mayor know that, okay, this is not in the scope that we had planned for the money that's budgeted, and it will be a cost overrun if we do that. You know, I understand if you want them, you know, the mayor wants it done, but if it's going to be over what we've already budgeted, then I think this council needs to know prior to that work being done. And then we, you know, like Alderman Moiseo said, we got to spend the bond money by the end of the year. Fine. But at least we know ahead of time that, you know, cost overrun is going to be coming. And sure, you know, all this other work needed to be done. I have no problem with that. But the fact that it comes back to us as such a huge cost overrun prior, you know, and the work has already been done. Alderman Florian.
I just want to point out that when we talk about bond money, that's borrowed money. So it's not just the dollar amount, it's the amount of interest we pay on that money going forward. So it's even a bigger number than it looks like here. And I'm sure all the other aldermen get calls like I do about, why is my road not being done? Why is my sidewalk not being done? And now we have to authorize, you know, couple hundred, well, $355,000 worth of work that's got put ahead of some of the stuff that needed to be done in somebody else's ward. So I agree with Alderman Moiseo. It sometimes doesn't look fair, or I'll use the word transparent, about how we decide what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I just want
Well, I think some of that work that was done probably should have been done prior to what was already on the list, because they had been ignored for years and years and years and years. So I think it should have been done when it was done, but I think it should have come to to the council and let us know that there's going to be a cost overrun, because we really need to take care of this section of the city.
Alderman Newsom,
Yes.
what we're doing this coming year is we're notifying the contractors that when they exceed or get to the point of 85% of the contract, that we stop them and reevaluate what we have to do so that we won't exceed the amount this year.
Okay. All right. Moving forward, that would be great.
Alderman
And
Newsom,
then we won't have to discuss this again. Mayor?
to Alderman Florence' point, ma'am, the interest rate on that's not going to change what we're doing here, just to let you know on that one. The second thing is, I hear you loud and clear as to what the saying about that. To Alderman Florence, just to let you know, the Tobin Court, Bush Court, over 35 years, those sidewalks have not been done. We had a flurry of calls that came to our office. And yes, I did authorize it. I thought it was necessary, needed to do. As you know, the cemetery in probably over 50 years has not been done. I can assure you, the 7th Ward, 9th Ward, in the 8th Ward, probably 2 times over with that. So the things that, as I said earlier, they needed to be done. Those calls are coming in. I should have a much better judgment on that. I sincerely apologize. I assure you that'll never happen again. But by no means will it add to our interests and things like that. And to confirm that, you can talk to Tina offline to get all of those facts. But the things that needed to be done were things was neglected, forgotten about. And at that time, I made a call. I apologize for it. We have processes in places now, as Mike Hewitt said, and I can assure you those things will not happen again, ma'am. And if there's any streets in your ward, please let us know. We'll put it part, as you know, we have a CIP, capital improvement plan. It goes into what, 2022 or 2021? 2022, right? Mike or Tina?
The plan actually goes all the way out till 2024, I believe.
Yeah, so we have a CIP plan. It goes out to 2024. Those roads are on there based on the what? Based on the assessment that was done back in Robertson Engineering that had defined $554 million that needed to be done in our community. So by no means, one ward was neglected over the other. What was happening is that we were trying to address things that has not been addressed before. And again, I know you hear it. We all hear it. But what's important? To get these things done now, make sure the process is in place, and as you say, transparency, which we've made the adjustments on that. And again, I take full responsibility as the mayor, and I hear my legislative body loud and clear. Those things won't happen again. That I can promise you, Alderman. Are we good?
I do have a, I don't know why there's feedback all of a sudden, but I have a subdivision in my ward that's 25 years old at least, and the roads have never been done there either. So there's been places in the city, not just the ones you mentioned, that have been neglected also. So I just want to point that out. And what I said about the bonds, I didn't say it was going to raise our interest rate. I'm just saying that that's borrowed money and we will pay interest on it over the next however many years. So it's not just the $355,000, it's whatever interest we pay on that money going forward too. That was
that's the original bond though, that we're gonna pay that interest regardless. To your point, it's only talking about Castle Crest. Ma'am, Castle Crest, you didn't do it, I didn't do it, we're trying to repair it. Let's work on repairing it. Let's work on repairing it together. And I assure you, as we move forward with your interest right here, with all of ours, we'll get this done.
I was talking about Country Lane.
Okay, Country Lane, Castle Crest, whichever. Let's work on it together. So we can put that part of our CIP, identify what we want to go forward. But we're good. Thank you very much for all of your consideration. And I heard you loud and clear. You guys take care. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mayor. Any more questions on item F? Roll call. You have the motion?
Yes, ma'am. Seeger and Moiseo?
Yes, roll call, please.
Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Alderman Seeger?
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo?
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood?
Aye.
Alderman Newsom?
Aye, motion carried. Item G, Motion to authorize the mayor to waive the public bid requirement and to issue a change order in the amount of $790,000, amending the contract originally awarded on June 17th, 2020, in the amount of $3,537,377 to Peter Baker and Sons, to a revised total of $4,437,377. In order to make roadway improvements. This project utilizes 2018A general obligation bonds. Motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Kirkwood.
Chair,
Yes,
the final agenda actually had different dollar amounts than the one that we printed out for you on Friday.
okay.
So what is actually posted and posted on the website and was posted on the actual doors of City Council, the $790,000 change order is correct, but we had pulled the wrong original contract value.
Okay,
So the change order amount of 790,000 is correct. The revised total contract, if approved, will be 5,973,277.79.
Right.
And this work has not yet commenced.
$5,973,277.79.
Correct.
Okay. And this is for the city's engineer and CIP project. IEI manager, IEI recommends change order for additional work recommended to be completed under the roadway program, including South Candlestick Way, Salmon Avenue, and Laurel Avenue. The work has not yet been done. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item H, motion to authorize the mayor to award a contract to Azinga, the sole bidder, in an amount not to exceed $51,000 for the purpose of purchasing concrete and other public works commodities for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Motion by Alderman Seager, second by Alderman Rivera. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item I, motion to authorize the mayor to extend an agreement with SHI International Corporation for an amount not to exceed $110,000 for the purpose of software renewal and to waive the competitive bidding process pursuant to City of Waukegan Code Ordinance exemption of professional services waiver, Section 2-458, subsection I-4. Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Kirkwood. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item J, motion to authorize the mayor to extend an agreement with GHA Technologies for an amount not to exceed $35,000 for the purpose of software renewals and to waive the competitive bidding process pursuant to City of Waukegan Code of Ordinances exemption of professional services waiver, Section 2-458, subsection I, subsection 4. Motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Rivera. The IT director advises that after reviewing upcoming vendor payments, it was discovered City of Waukegan as a whole will exceed the threshold set forth City of Waukegan's Municipal Code, Section 2-454, purchases of over $25,000 for GHA Technologies for the fiscal year 2020 and 2021. This is for software and firewalls. Did you want to talk about that, or is someone on from IT?
I don't,
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
basically
Oh,
for,
good.
excuse me.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yes, ma'am. GHA, it's, we use that vendor for commodities, IT services, professional services, as well as renewal contracts. It's for the entire city. So basically, it's a vendor that we know we're going to exceed $25,000, but it's because every single department actually purchases from that department, from that vendor.
Okay. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please. Thank you, Mr. Eric.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item K, motion to authorize the mayor to execute a grant agreement relative to execute the 2020 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $37,137. No local match is required. And further to execute a memorandum of understanding with the County of Lake and the City of Zion in the distribution of this funds. We do this every year. Motion by Alderman Kirkwood, second by Alderman Seager. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item L, motion to authorize the mayor to execute a grant agreement for the Walmart Community Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $5,000. No local match is required. Motion by Alderman Seager, second by Alderman Moiseo. The Community Grant Program awards grants ranging from $250 to $5,000 through Walmart stores, Sam's Clubs, and logistics facilities. Eligible nonprofit organizations must operate on the local level or be an affiliate chapter of a large organization that operates locally and directly benefit the service area of the facility from which they are requesting funding. The Waukegan Fire Department has applied for this grant, and if awarded, expects to use funding granted to update drive team safety equipment. Are there any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. Item M, motion to approve a resolution authorizing the disposal of city-owned property located at 825 Pershing Road. Motion by Alderman Rivera, second by Alderman Kirkwood. Authorization is sought to exchange property for $10,000 as outlined in the attached purchase for real estate. Are there any questions to this motion? Being none, roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seager,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye, motion carried. And we have our reports and communication. Did you want to run through those right quickly? Ms. Tina?
Sure. And I'll go quickly because I'm sure you guys want to take a little break before we start city council. The monthly reports are attached, which include water consumption summary up through special event applications. So please take a look at those when you have a chance. We have not noticed a decline in consumption, water consumption due to COVID-19. However, we are noticing extended aged accounts. So people weren't necessarily paying timely. As you all are aware, we alerted you last month when the executive order expired that late fees are starting to be applied to invoices again, and shutoffs are starting again as well. Business license applications are pretty slow, but we're seeing some come in, especially out in the bridge development area. We're seeing business license applications there. The stabilization fund report, we're still within compliance of our policy. One thing to note, and I see Doc Schwab is on the line as well, we have been making loans, internal loans to the CDBG fund. And they are currently only being reimbursed for non-payroll expenses from HUD. So you will see a growing loan on that report between the stabilization fund and CDBG. The special event applications, we're seeing some of those, and people are trying to be creative. We were able to approve a couple of those, but many of them are ending up being withdrawn due to the phase requirements of the state. But those are listed there, whether they were approved or not. And we are starting to see, which is not on here because it's not required to be, but we're starting to see some block party applications again. And as soon as those come through, they go to the alderman of the ward where applicable. The video gaming report, I draw your attention to, it was not available as of Friday from the state. Video gaming terminals were turned back on by the state, or allowed to be turned back on by the state in July. The report was not available as of Friday. I apologize, I did not check again today. But as soon as those reports become available again at the state, we will start providing them. Food and beverage and hotel tax collection reports are provided. They are not subject to public release, so they are available on board docs under executive content. The push tax collection report, those amounts would start being due August 20th from July collections. So what we've provided is the number of registrations we've received to date. So we will be reporting those to you next month, but we wanted to have a placeholder on the agenda. The budget to actual report is also included. I could spend a lot more time on that, but I know we don't have that time tonight. So as always, if any alderman has any questions about the budget to actual report or any financial reports or matters, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to speak about those at any time. Next month during Finance and Purchasing Committee, I would ask that we budget 20 to 30 minutes. We'll be providing the first fiscal quarter report summary at that time, and we'll also be providing some updated projections based on information coming out of the state and national level. One of the things that we're interested to see what happens is the CARES Act legislation, which allocated funding for local governments. The way the legislation was drafted originally did not allow for revenue replacement or revenue loss replacement. It only allowed it for expenditures, things like PPE, overtime, but it had to be directly related to COVID. And as you all can appreciate, and any government level can appreciate, the impact of COVID-19 has really been on lost tax revenues more than it's been on expenses for municipalities. So we were hopeful that the new legislation would revise that CARES funding so that we could use it for revenue replacement, but no action had been taken at that time. So maybe by our August meeting, September meeting, we'll have more information for you there. 2 quarterly reports are provided, the grant status report and also the travel and entertainment reimbursement report. Those are required to be reported to you quarterly. And then finally, the arbitrage rebate calculation report for the special assessment bonds is also attached. And that is the annual report that we have to do, where we have to actually have an outside person come in and measure if we are earning more interest on escrow or bond monies than we are paying on those bonds. So there is no penalty currently due to the IRS on those bonds. And that's a summary of all those reports. Again, I'm happy to meet and discuss any of the finance reports that we provide individually if you care to.
Righty. Thank you so much, Tina. I'm going to take a motion by Alderman Moiseo, second by Alderman Seeger to adjourn. The time is now 6:42 p.m. Roll call, please.
Alderman Moiseo,
Right.
Alderman Kirkwood,
Aye.
Alderman Rivera,
Aye.
Alderman Seeger,
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye. Motion carried. All righty. See you all at council.